Good morning. Today is October 14th, and let's see what gold and silver are doing this morning. Silver is at 52.57. Gold currently is at 41.45.30, and they both have already broken all new time highs. So, as usual, everyone's freaking out. I heard recently, I think it was yesterday, I heard someone saying that that these last 3 months of this year is the only time you're left to buy any kind of assets, that next year everything's going to collapse. I don't know where they get their information from, but you know, I always say follow the money. Right now, a lot of people are dumping cryptos and getting into the metals. So it's got to be a sign of something. But anyway, I mean, like I always say, I can't tell anybody what to do. I mean, you just got to pray about it and make sure you make the right decisions. Take care of your families and yourself, you know. When I first started stacking, I remember my wife telling me, well, we can't eat silver. And that's true, we can't. But there's people that are willing to trade for it. So that's where I'm at on that. But I know I talk a lot about gold and silver, but you have to consider other things too, you know. You have to think about trade and barter and what you have that other people might want or need to trade. You know, I find it ironic that a long time ago, years ago, I had seen some preppers. And one of the things that one of the preppers had was a lot of coffee. And back then, I didn't drink coffee. So I kind of didn't understand, but also I was like, well, whatever, you know, it's not going to affect me. Well, now I drink coffee. And, I mean, I can go without, it's not a big deal, but I understand now why, you know, he was saving a whole bunch of coffee for trade. You know, I don't know how long coffee lasts, I hadn't looked into it, but that might be a good thing to barter with. Of course, coffee is a little expensive right now, but I noticed in the market as well that copper is starting to come up a little. Still, this morning or yesterday it was under $5, but it was right at the $5 mark. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they sell it they price it by the pound, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. I've heard a lot of mixed emotions on that as well. Do you buy copper rounds? I have a few, only because I kind of feel, and this is just me, right? I mean, I have no idea what the future holds, but I feel that copper is like the new silver. Gold is starting to be unaffordable. Silver is moving up, which means you're getting less for your dollar. And copper is about the price of silver way back in the day, right now. So who knows, maybe in 20, 30 years from now, copper will be at the price of silver. But then again, the way that things are going, it might be sooner. Who knows, you know? Just trying to diversify a little bit. But I'm not going to make my stack all copper either, you know? I honestly don't even know how much I have. I haven't counted. I want to say maybe I got 20 ounces of silver. I mean, I'm sorry, 20 ounces of copper, but I don't know. I don't really keep up with that. I will say this, though, with the pennies, 1980, I forgot. It's either 1984 and older or 1982 and older, I forget, but I started looking at my pennies. Whenever I use cash and I get change, I look at my pennies, and I've already gotten like 2 or 3 rolls of copper pennies, you know. So if copper does go up, I mean, you know, got that. Personally, I don't like the 40% silver. I have some, but that's not something I stack it off. I find it, I'll hold on to it. I like Mexico currency. That's more of a hobby, because some of it doesn't have value. Some of it is bronze, made of bronze, or brass. Oh, actually, I think I have both, actually. And then, of course, I have some, I guess what we would call junk silver, but from Mexico. But again, only because I like the designs and stuff, and of course, I love the Libertads, so that's why I do that. But that's not what I initially wanted to talk about. Kind of wanted to continue on what I had started yesterday. I didn't finish on the leadership qualities, and I wanted to touch on that. So this says 5 leadership mistakes to avoid. So as a new leader, these are probably things you should consider. Or if you are a leader and you're doing some of these things, maybe, avoid them or change the way that you do things. According to Simon Sinek, it says focusing on short-term wins over long-term vision. It says leaders who prioritize immediate results like quarterly profits risk losing sight of the bigger picture. Sinek emphasizes playing the infinite game, leading with a long-term perspective and sustained goals. So, working for a corporation, obviously, a corporation has goals that need to be met. But at the same time, as a leader, your staff should be your goal as well. There's a saying, you take care of your staff, they'll take care of you. And it's true. I've seen it time and time again. Which goes into the next one, lacking empathy for team members. You want to build a good team, you have to have empathy. It says leaders who fail to understand or care about their team members' needs and feelings create a disconnect. Empathy is the key to building trust, loyalty, and a collaborative work environment. So you need to care. I mean, it's weird that we have to say that, but you need to care. I'm not one that's good, and I don't think anybody is, with dealing with death. But it is a part of life, right? And as a matter of fact, I try to avoid funerals as much as I can. But as I'm getting older, I think I should go to more, one, to show that I care, but also because, again, it's a part of life, and then I know the word, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So, anyway, showing empathy is the point. Leading with authority instead of inspiration. Again, these are things to avoid. Using authority to command compliance doesn't inspire true commitment. Sinek encourages leaders to inspire through vision and purpose, motivating teams to work towards something meaningful. And I will be honest, that's one of the main reasons why I left where I left. Because there was no vision, there was no purpose. It was like, there was, but it was like a secret, and I'm not used to working like that. I'm used to, this is the goal, this is what we want to accomplish, let's work together to get there. And then collaborate to get it done, right? Not just do it now, do it this has to be done today, ASAP. Yeah, no, nobody works like that. As a matter of fact, it slows down production when you're like that. And leaders, especially leaders that have been in leadership roles for a long period of time, should know this by now. That doesn't work. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but my shorts are starting to fall down. I don't feel like I'm losing any weight. Anyway, so leading with authority, that's not a good leadership skill. Let's see. Neglecting to establish trust. Leadership is about fostering trust, not just giving orders. Leaders who overlook the importance of trust create an environment of fear and disengagement, which limits creativity and growth. And again, I'm seeing that where I was at. And, it was toward the end, it was to the point where I felt that anything I said I was going to get in trouble for. It didn't matter what it was. So I had told one of my one-ups that trust was the issue with this individual. with all the teams that were under him. I told him that he could build it, he can fix it, but it's going to take time because he never established it, you know. And even towards the end, I was still trying to help, you know. But ironically, I want to say I had that discussion with him like on a Monday. And then on a Wednesday, there was a leadership training because I think the corporation's trying to fix it, but what's the point if nobody puts it into practice, right? I mean, when I talk about like silver and gold, for example, what's the point if nobody's going to put it into practice, you know? So, anyway, talked to him about trust. I kind of went in depth with him, and I could tell that it was just going in one ear and out the other. At least that's what his body language told me. And I knew, I felt that, wow, I'm going to get written up for this one. Even though it was positive, it wasn't even anything negative. But nonetheless, I want to say it was like on the Wednesday after we had a leadership training, and they basically said word per word what I had said too. And still, even with that, nothing changed. But that's okay. Trust is very important for teams. And, you know, I'm not trying to be arrogant and saying that I've been doing this so long and I know that I don't know. I mean, every team's different. You learn with them. Every individual on the team is different, so you learn with each one of them. But I believe that the way you build trust is not only to listen, that's key, but also to be willing to do. You know, it requires action. I always think about the scripture, how everyone says that the law is done away with. But James says, be doers. That's action. Doers of the word, not just listeners only. So, not just hearers, rather, is what it says. But anyway, so as a leader, we need to show action behind our listening. So be willing to go out there and work with them, you know, not just point fingers, not just stand there and watch. And I think that's where a lot of leaders fail. There's like a major project going on at my previous employment, and I think if a few of those higher-ups would get over there and work hand in hand, side by side with some of those employees, not only would they understand what it takes to do this, but I think the employees would earn a little bit more respect towards them. But again, what do I know? Let's see. I love that I'm getting older because I don't think I ever really had a filter, but I think I'm losing more of that filter. But that being said, I think I've said this quite a bit, and I know I said it to my one-up a few times, being sarcastic and saying, well, I only have 20 plus years experience, what do I know? But the truth is, I don't know anything. I learn, I grow every day. Every day that we're alive, we should be learning. If we stop learning, we're dead. It's that simple. So the last one is failing to prioritize people over numbers. And that is a big deal, because in many companies, and I've seen this, people become numbers, and that's sad. I understand that all of us are replaceable, but at the same time, you're losing value. It takes money to train people, to bring them up to where you want them to be, and for them to jump ship because of a lack of leadership or micromanagement or a toxic environment, you're losing money, you know. And ironically, you know, again, I'm not trying to say I'm the best of the best, but I was just one of many that are on the same path that I took, you know. They're just, you know, have different situations, so they're waiting it out a little bit. So again, the last one, failing to prioritize people over numbers. Leaders who prioritize profits, matrix, or performance over their people create a toxic culture. And that's what's happening. You know, it's all about people. Nothing works without people. So that was one that I had wanted to kind of touch on. And then I want to say this real quick. So 6 things mentally strong people do. Number 1, they move on. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. So obviously I moved on. don't feel sorry for myself. I actually feel, I hate to say it this way, but I feel like I'm free. And it's kind of sad if you think about it. And I'm not saying that I'm mentally strong, because I have my flaws as well. But it's interesting that that's what mentally strong people do. They move on. I think I shared this in another video, but I had a person tell me, we were talking about the work situation, and I was being very prideful, even though I didn't realize it. She pointed it out to me. But I was being very prideful in saying, I'm not going to quit. They're going to have to fire me. And she asked me point blank, doesn't the Bible say something about pride? And I was like, wow. Like it was a kidney punch. And I thought on it. And that was actually when I made the decision to move on. Because really and truly, my mental health was in jeopardy. The stress level was just ridiculous, and the micromanagement and the toxic environment were crazy. And I've seen this happen in a lot of different places, but not like this. This was unique, that's for sure. And obviously I'm not privy to what was going on above my pay grade, but I should have known, because the leader I had before would share everything. He would disseminate information, keep us all in the loop, so we knew the direction we were going. And the proof is in the numbers. I mean, our work orders just skyrocketed, and then they started to drop toward the end, And, well, like they say, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Not that I'm important to any company, really. I know my value, and I know what I bring to the table, and I will continue to do my 100%. You know what I mean? I don't say 110 or 120 anymore, because I'm getting older. I don't think I have that extra. Anyway, I'm just playing. So number one, they move on. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Number two, they embrace change. They welcome challenges. I know a lot of people that I've spoken to that want to leave are afraid of change. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen no matter what. Tomorrow might not be there. And that place might close down. Who knows? I worked for a place. That I kind of could see the writing on the wall, but I wasn't sure. And what I saw really was we would have to hurry up and wait, and we would wait. I mean, I guess because I had management experience, I was just an employee there, but with my management experience, I was like, maybe you should send people home. Like, we're just riding that clock, Not that I minded, but at the same time, I mean, companies are in business to make money, right? And it was very often that happened. So I decided to go online and look at their numbers. Typically, you could see the profits and loss of a company online, but usually it's the year before and past. So when I looked, I saw that the last 5 years, every year, they were declining financially. And that last year that I could see, it was like right on the cusp of being negative. And just looking at the charts, like I always say, follow the markets, right? Just looking at the charts, I could tell that, yeah, this ain't gonna last. So I started looking. I found another job. I moved on. A month later, the place closed down. So, I don't know. Anyway, change happens. Embrace it. Know your value. Know that you can go anywhere. You don't have to stay there. And if you get out of debt, like I always say, that gives you a more of a freedom where you don't have to make a certain amount. You can work for less, and really and truly evaluate yourself. Do I really need to have, that coffee every day? I guess some of us do. Maybe we wean ourselves off of that, right? Do I really have to have that pizza every week? I mean, there's things we can cut. Anyway, they stay happy. They don't waste energy on things they can't control. And there is a lot of things that we cannot control. Anyway, there's a lot of things we can't control, but we can control ourselves. We are not slaves. And We can control the way we react. We can control the way our day is going to be. And when we allow others to bring down our day, then we just became a slave to them. And I know it's easier than said than done sometimes, but it is possible. There's several people that do that, and I was just telling somebody the other day that people that steal your joy or your peace, cut them out. Like, why do you keep them in your life, People that don't bring any value to you. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be helpful, but there's a difference between helping and being taken advantage of, and we need to figure that out and stop letting it happen. Let's see. Number 4, they are willing to take a calculated risk. And I'll tell you, that's basically what I did. I searched around. I tried to find the right place to go. I have long-term goals. I have short-term goals. And this is the beginning of my new life, for lack of a better way of saying it. I don't know what the future holds. Who knows? This place that I'm at might close down. I mean, there's no promise of tomorrow. I might drop dead in the next few minutes. There's no promise of tomorrow. So we should prepare, but we should live life to the fullest as if it was our last day. Now, I'm not saying let me go and, get drunk and get all stupid. I'm not saying that, like life, like to party every day or whatever, We have to take care of our bodies, right? This is our temple. But at the same time, if we're so worried about tomorrow, what if tomorrow never comes, Enjoy life. Take the risk. It's okay. There's certain things that I hate to use the word bucket list, but certain things I have on my bucket list. Some of them I've removed because I don't feel like it anymore. But there's one in particular. I want to go to West Texas. There's this mountain over there that I want to climb. And, I guess you should say hill. I don't know. But I want to do that, and then I heard it takes I think they said like 6 hours one way or something like that. So I don't know how or when. I got to plan it out, but that's on my bucket list. I'm going to do it, And this trying to walk every day like I used to, hopefully will prepare me for that. And I'm sure you can hear it in my breath. I'm gasping for air because I'm so out of practice on this. But it'll come back. Number 5, they seek education and knowledge from experts. I've said this before, but I've been very fortunate to have great mentors throughout my life. But kind of like what I said in the beginning, you can have all the training you want, but if you don't put it into practice, if you don't listen, what use is it? I praise God that I listened. Sometimes I got angry because the truth hurts, but I listened. I changed. I adapted to what needed to be done, and that's what we should be doing. And seeking education, there's audiobooks you can listen to on the way to work. You don't have to listen to music, There's so many things that we can do to educate ourselves. I would say, because I've jumped around so much on so many different things, but I would say pick a topic and just concentrate on that. I don't remember exactly when I started stacking. I want to say I know it was after November 11, but not right after. It might have been like 2021 or somewhere around there. Anyway, I don't remember. And it was sporadic back then. But once I got serious about it, that's when I started studying it and learning more about it and seeing, like, I didn't know that in the Constitution it says that silver and gold are money. This fiat currency we have isn't money. So it's funny because yesterday I went to a fast food place. My wife wanted some food. She gave me her card to buy her food. So her card has a sticker of Monopoly money. And when I paid with it, the guy tells me, hey, can he pay with Monopoly money? And, he was joking and they laughed, whatever. But I was like, well, that's exactly what it is. This fiat money is Monopoly money. It's not real. I'm exchanging my fake money for real money. And a lot of people are starting to do that. Again, look at the markets. There's this, I can't remember who it was that said it. One of the leadership gurus, I can't remember which one, said that look at what the rich people are doing and copy it. Well, a lot of those high rollers are getting out of the stock market, getting out of crypto and buying silver and gold. A lot of the countries have been storing gold for a couple of years now, And now some of them are starting to buy silver. And that's probably why the price is going up, because there's going to be a shortage. And I know some people have said, well, it's too high right now, I'll get it when it goes down. It might not. This might be the low, But then again, it might. Who knows, But again, if you cost dollar average, well, then you're always getting no matter what the price is. Of course, you're going to be getting less sometimes, but still. I had set myself, and I've actually lowered this now, only because of some of the things that I'm trying to do right now. So it kind of changed the way that I have to do this, at least for now. But I used to set aside $200 every paycheck. That was what I was gonna buy worth of silver. And actually, it's because I would always buy from Ampex, and they charge you if you buy less than that amount, right? So I started buying that amount because with the taxes, I was like, oh, it would put me over the 200. Just pay the 200, and you're not gonna have to pay those taxes or fees. So anyway, so that's what I do. And now 200, I think when I first started, would get me, I want to say it was like 6 coins, or maybe 8, I don't remember. But now it gets me 3 or 4. So you see the difference, what I'm saying, the same amount of money, but inflation and everything else, and then the price going up. But let me move on. The point of that was seek education. Number 6, they invest in themselves and their future, and that's what I'm doing. I started this to take care of my family, but I'm also doing it because I need to think of my future. If I was to drive inside, I don't want to give too much away. I have a card from 2 different coin dealers that pay the same amount. Both of them pay 90%. A lot of that silver that I bought, I was buying at $22. I know some people got silver way cheaper than that, but like I said, that's when I started. And it's funny because I remember thinking that's too much. But anyway, and now it's worth 50. So 90% of 50 versus 90% of 22, obviously I'm making a profit. And because of changing jobs, and this is another thing I realized, because of changing jobs, well, now I lost life insurance. And the new job takes 2 months before it kicks in. So if anything happens between now and then, my wife already knows there's 2 cards that she can look at and take it to either one, and my funeral expenses are taken care of. And whatever's left, if she needs to sell it for other expenses, she can. I mean, I'm gone. It ain't gonna matter, right? But that's why I do what I do. Thinking of my future, thinking of their future. I always tell her, maybe we could send the grandkids to school. Maybe we use it for a big vacation as we get older. Or what I really want to do is let it supplement retirement, because who knows if there'll be any retirement by the time I'm ready. Oh, by the way, I'm ready now. Which actually I'm working on that too. I like I said earlier, I feel free, and it's not even about the job. I feel free because my mind is changing, my thoughts, my priorities, and it's a good thing. And things that I used to think were important are not. Friends that I tried so hard to keep as friends that don't even acknowledge me unless they need something, I cut off. I mean, what's the point? Life is short. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. But I will end with one scripture. I believe it's in Matthew. It's Yeshua, Jesus, talking about the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I want to say it's 7:21, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that for all the leadership that I've ever taught, all the leadership I've ever learned, that has always been the core for me. And it's the truth. One of my mentors, I would do anything for him. If he was to call me right now and say, hey, can you come and help me mow my yard, I would do it. Because he had such a huge influence in my life that I can never repay. Not that he would want me to, but I'm just saying. And all of us should have that. But I know not all of us do. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. God bless you. Go home, read your Bible.